Welcome to another episode of Chris McDaniel's America here on the Midnight Ride Network, your home of the anti-establishment movement in this country. And boy, do we have a show for you today. It's a show that deals with all the things that should matter to conservatives, to Republicans, to people that are fighting against the system. Because today we're going to expose how it is the establishment behaves, how the swamp behaves when they feel threatened. It's a constant and common game plan, and we've seen it time and time again. As we go through this, with me as always, Jack Fairchilds.
Hey, Chris, welcome back.
It's good to be here. I've been out fighting the good fight, but now I'm back to fight it here today, and we do need to address this swamp thing. You see, here's the thing. Why did you vote for President Trump? Why did I vote for President Trump? And the answer was simple. He told us he was going to drain the swamp. But if we don't understand the swamp's games and the way they do things, we'll never really get to the place where we can drain the swamp. And I'm going to tell you something. The swamp isn't just in Washington, D.C. The swamp is wherever power is consolidated, where these same old parties sit around and broker these backroom deals and do all this nasty, dirty, rotten, filthy stuff. And the people that always lose are the local people. So it's not just Washington, it's in the state capitals as well. And we've seen evidence of that right here in Mississippi, here recently in Jackson, Mississippi, where the swamp, once again, is showing us who they really are. Now, here's the thing, people. We can look at this and recognize it and then do something about it, or we can look at it, recognize it, and try to rationalize it and justify it. The whole point of this moment in history, the whole point of fighting for Trump, fighting for change, fighting for the Constitution, fighting for regular people, the whole point of this movement is to make sure these backroom deals aren't played. Is to make sure that people don't cut deals behind closed doors. It's to make sure that people are treated fairly. Oh, you don't think there are backroom deals? I've been in those backrooms. I served 16 years. Before that, I was involved in politics for 10. I know the backrooms exist. I've sat in the backrooms. I hear the way they talk about you. I hear what they say about you. I hear the way they discredit you and think that you will not have the guts to challenge them, that you wouldn't dare. They also believe you'll forget. And to me, that's the most insulting thing. How many times have I been in the back rooms and I hear this? They'll forget about it. It's 2 years away. It's 3 years away. It's time for the voters to forget. They take advantage of our short-term memory issues because it seems we can only remember things in the short term, and they push the vote out, and they hope you don't catch them. That stuff's happening right here. It's happening right here in Mississippi, and it's an example of the things that occur all across the country. So redistricting is a big deal. I'm going to get to that. Then I'm going to show you exactly how a recent situation in Mississippi carved up a county I'm in and did its best to essentially end my political career by those same backroom deals. We'll talk about that, but first, let's talk about how the swamp gets it done, because they have methods and mechanisms whereby they punish conservatives. Anyone who stands up to them, who doesn't say, sir, yes, sir, anyone who dares to try to do the right thing, invariably is punished. And I'm going to tell you, that's who I wanted to be. I wanted to fight for principle and not necessarily simply party. I wanted to fight for the right things and not simply because I was told to shut up and get in line, right? It didn't matter if it was Haley Barbour or Delbert Hosemann. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Eminent domain abuse with Barbour. I fought him there. He didn't like me much for that. Delbert, the Democrat, he showed his colors 1,000 different times and since has showed them even more. I fought against him, and now I'm being made to pay the price. But somehow, leave it to people, we're the bad guys. We're going to get to that here in just a second. So how does the swamp do it? How do they keep people in line? First of all, you elect a bunch of weak people. That's the first problem. The voters fall for this nonsense year in and year out. You've heard it. Well, I went to school with her, or I went to school with him, or I went fishing with his daddy back in 1972, and he was the nicest man. Look, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with having relationships with people, but you're voting for people that are going to be voting on things that impact our lives. It has to be more than friendships. It has to be, are you a person of principle or of honor? Now, you don't have to be perfect. Hey, look, bad votes are sometimes cast, right? But the mark of a really good person is when you cast a bad vote, admit it. Just say, you know what, I didn't have the right information. I was lied to. I did my best. I messed up. I shouldn't have cast that vote. Don't try to rationalize it and justify it. It just shows the weakness. And that's what we're seeing, not only in Washington, but here in Jackson. So when someone does step out, how does the swamp attack them? The first thing they do, they attack your committee assignments.
Yep.
You see, when you become part of a legislative body, you're assigned to committees. And it's in those committees where a lot of the work is fashioned. Not most of the work, but part of the work. And if you've removed or been removed from those committees, you don't have as much of a say in legislation as it moves forward. That's the first thing they do. They freeze you out of the preferred committees. Number two, they kill your bills. This is the establishment's second most favorite way to get to conservatives or to attack conservatives. They kill their bills behind the scenes. So when a conservative introduces a piece of legislation, they make darn sure the legislation is referred to an unfriendly or hostile committee, or they make darn sure that chairman that sits on the committee will do the lieutenant governor's bidding and kill whatever bill the conservative has introduced. Mm-hmm. It happens in Washington as well. So you have these committee chairmen that control the flow of legislation. You say, well, how do they stop it? It's really simple. They just refuse to bring it forward. That's how a bill dies. Yeah. It doesn't even get a vote. So that's the establishment's other way of defeating conservatives. Let's keep going. We're getting to redistricting. Let's keep going. Number three, it's called the money blackout. You've seen the money blackout, haven't you? You see, here's the way it works. And I'm going to really make some people mad on this, but if you question whether or not your elected official has been purchased or not, go look at their campaign finance report. If it's filled with PACs and other politicians, they've probably been purchased. If it's filled with regular guys that do a 9-to-5 job, farmers, teachers, whatever the case may be, then they're probably a legitimate candidate. But remember, the establishment controls the flow of the money. And they know that unless you're on TV and have direct mail pieces sent out every day and do text messaging every day, they know if you do those things, you could be a successful candidate. So they hold the money over your head. And they say, you work with me, and I'll give you this. If you don't work with me, I'm going to put it somewhere else. And that's what happens. So real conservatives, real anti-establishment candidates, they find themselves on the outs because they can't raise the money then to defeat the ones that are funded by the swamp. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. We see it right here. So they freeze you out there. Another way they freeze you out, disinformation, smears, lies. If they can't destroy you politically, they'll try to destroy you personally. Have we seen that with Trump? They can't seem to beat him at the ballot box, but they try to smear him every other way imaginable. It's the same with any candidate out there that's pushing against the grain. You've heard the half-truths. You've heard the whisper campaigns. You've heard the smear techniques of any candidate that dares to stand up to these people. You've got to ignore it, but that's what the establishment does. Another thing they do, they actually will attempt to find people to run against you.
Yep. That's
called primary sabotage. In other words, they'll find a candidate and fund them with a whole bunch of money. We're seeing it right now in DeSoto County.
Yep.
There's a race up there, not to bore you with that, but there's a race up there. Mike McClendon is running in that race. Mike's a good guy, pretty solid conservative. The establishment found somebody they could control, and now he's smearing Mike and trying to hurt Mike, and they've put money behind this guy.
Yeah.
But that's how the game is played. And the reason is McClendon wasn't able to be controlled. And so they hate him for it. What they want more than anything are people just to say, sir, yes, sir. Forget about the people back home. Forget about the voters. Follow the leader. That's what they want. And if you don't play the game, they'll freeze you out. Something else they do. It's called social isolation. It is what it sounds like. You don't get invited to the meetings anymore. The lobbyists don't like you much anymore, which was perfect for me because I didn't like the lobbyists a lot either, right? And the thing is, I needed always to keep a healthy balance, a distance between the lobbyist and me, because then I felt like I was operating independently. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the money, and it wasn't the steak dinners, and it wasn't the wine, and it wasn't all the junk that goes on. It was just doing the right thing, vote by vote. That's important. But if you don't play their games, they'll freeze you out socially. And then lastly, this may sound familiar to you Trumpians out there like me. Think about it. What do? If they can't get you politically, if they can't smear your name personally, then it becomes legal warfare, doesn't it? Ethical harassment. He violated the ethics code or the campaign finance code, or name it. With Trump, they've tried to prosecute him with 1,000 different things, it seems. This is the game plan they've used against us since the beginning of time. I can tell you about it because I have had to fight it. And you shouldn't encourage this stuff.
Yep.
This keeps those crazy people in power. You ought to find a way to move through this and do the right thing. And here lately what they've done. The biggest stick in their weaponry, so to speak, is something called redistricting. Now, let me try to explain that because it's a hot topic right now, particularly here in Jones County and also DeSoto County. Every 10 years or so, the census takes place. It's supposed to be every 10 years. I guess things like COVID could mess that up just a bit, but every 10 years or so, the census is supposed to take place. The census is when we count people.
Population.
We count them, trying to figure out how many people are in which respective districts so we can draw the lines and make sure everybody is theoretically represented. Yep. Right? You draw congressional lines, but you also draw state legislative lines and judicial lines. This is a big deal because these lines impact not only the counties, but the politicians that are involved. So what does the establishment do? What does the swamp do with redistricting? Well, they find ways to harm, hurt, injure, defame, and anything in their power to control, again, the narrative and to keep people on the plantation. Yep. Don't move, don't ask any questions, sit here, shut up, do what we tell you to do. Redistricting is their big weapon. How do they do it? First it's called cracking. People don't realize that, Jack. It's called cracking. What that means is you take a politician's base and you split it.
Diabolical.
It is, but think about it. If a politician has a strong geographical setting,
yeah.
Say it's a popular guy from Laurel or a popular guy from Ellisville, and it's a strong geographical setting, what you do is you carve it out, you fragment it to where you can't lean back and rely on that strong setting for future races. That's the first thing. It's called cracking. Number two is called packing. Just the opposite. They'll then try to pack hostile voters into that district against the incumbent. So they didn't really draw his home out. They went out and brought in a whole bunch of nasty voters that don't like the guy in. That's called packing. That's the other way they do it. The other way is personal targeting. And this is what happened to me. Personal targeting. You see, they take the lines and they draw all over the map with one real purpose, and that's to sweep in over my address, sweep down, and literally turn the map upside down, gerrymandering the map to take my home in Ellisville out of the district.
That's what they did.
That's what they did. Look at it. I don't want you to take my word for anything I'm saying today. I want you to go look at that ugly spiraling map of District 42 and District 34, how it fits together, and look how 34 comes into Ellisville, comes over 506 South Court Street, grabs it, and takes me out of the district I represented for 16 years.
It looks like they drew a line with a particular bubble around your address.
Oh, they did. And in so doing, so you how bad it is, they violated all their internal programming and rules to do so. You're not supposed to split precincts. They split like 8 or 12 precincts.
Yes. And then there are people like myself that were collateral damage because of what they did, because I was drawn out too.
You're not supposed to cross county boundaries like that, and they did that, and they did it to get me. Yeah. Let's just be honest about it. Delbert Hoseman concocted a plan to make sure that I could never run again. And that makes me the bad guy because I point out the votes. Yeah. Because our local senator here, Robin Robinson, supported Delbert's plan.
She did.
I'll get to that in a second. She didn't just support that plan that carved out me in District 42 and 34 and all the voters that supported me, or a lot of them. She also voted for a bill that carved out judicially the district in Jones County. Now let me explain that, because Dow Williamson, trying to bring some common sense to this, Dow is a respected, kind, brilliant judge. And he pointed out in an editorial just how badly Jones County had been taken advantage of by this vote. And here's why. For almost a century, Jones County had a single court system. And it was a good, highly functioning court system.
Yes.
Remember, we have two courthouses, one in Ellisville, one in Laurel. And Jones County is a very heavily populated county. So we had one judicial district, and he served that district, and others like him beforehand served it very well.
Yes.
It was efficient. It was good with the money. It saved money. Had a great drug court. We had things set up politically in Jones County where when we spoke, people listened. Well, there was a concoction, a deal crafted in Jackson, whereby two other counties, if not three, were added to Jones County's county, diluting our power once again. And then here's the real rub. Two judges will serve, but one of the judges has to be from one of the other three counties.
I saw that.
It can't even be from Jones County. Now, what person in their right mind would have supported that bill if you took an oath and you told people you were going to support the people of Jones County? Why would you ever, under any circumstances, stab us in the back that way? Look, Dal Williamson brought it up the first time. I didn't even get involved in this until recently. Yeah. He brought it up, and he said it's a disgrace. And then he said it's shameful what they did to Chris McDaniel. And it hit me. It really was shameful.
Yeah.
And so I started speaking out. Now, this is where things get really, really interesting, because I started speaking out, and all of a sudden, I'm the bad guy. I didn't vote those votes. She did.
Yep.
I didn't exact political retribution or vengeance. She did. I didn't carve up the judiciary in this county. She did. And then I see a post this morning, Chris McDaniel just must hate Robert Robinson. No. She cast two of the dumbest, most influential votes we've ever seen as a county. It was indefensible. It cannot be forgiven.
Yeah, I agree.
And what makes matters worse, she's trying to rationalize it. I'm not against her. I'm against the votes she cast. Why can't people understand this? You can't cast those types of votes with vengeance and hate in your heart purposefully to hurt me and others like me, and then expect me to sit there and not say a word about it. What am I missing here?
You're not missing anything, Chris. I mean, it's frustrating because, again, she's trying to rationalize it through because I spoke with Robin and had a conversation with her about this, and she's trying to rationalize that she had to vote yes on the lines, or else the courts would have drawn the lines. Well, quite frankly, if the courts had drawn the lines, they would have been better because they wouldn't have had Delbert Hoseman's revenge.
We're not even giving that lie credibility. Yeah. Stop. You're giving it too much credibility. No. 12 other senators voted no.
Yeah.
Other senators attempted to provide amendments. Other senators spoke against the bill. The court wasn't going to redraw those lines. It would have gone back to committee and have been redrawn. Mm-hmm. She's not being honest about this. I'm not saying she's dishonest. I'm saying I lived it. I've been down that path, and I can tell you what happens. You have the vote on the floor. She didn't raise an objection. She didn't try to amend. She didn't speak against it. She did nothing. And her excuse was, well, if I didn't vote yes, the courts are going to draw. That's not the way it works. Had that bill failed on the floor, it would have gone back to committee for further consideration. At that stage, it could have been corrected and fixed and then brought back up for a second independent vote.
Wow.
That's the way it works. She's just not being honest. And that's the point I'm making. I get.
Look, I'm glad you are.
Hold on. I get that it's politically inconvenient the way she voted. It's a terrible vote. Mm-hmm. Own it. Just own it. You voted badly. You hurt your county. You followed Delbert Hoseman down a path that was devastating to the people of this area. Just say, look, I did it, and here's why. But don't lie to us, and don't try to rationalize it. And don't try to say the courts would have withdrawn it. That is absolutely inaccurate. By the way, when she's saying that, what did she say when she was explaining that to you? Did she explain judicial redistricting? No, she didn't.
No, she kind of danced around.
She didn't explain it. Do you know why she didn't explain it?
Because she can't.
She can't.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. People say, well, he's mad. I don't hate anybody. But this is the kind of games I do despise. It's not her. It's the system. A system that we claim we're fighting against. The whole point of electing Trump was to destroy this system. And then she goes up there and joins hands with it. No. As a citizen, as a voter, I have a right to speak my mind about that. Doesn't mean I hate her.
No.
It just means that the votes are unforgivable under those circumstances. And makes it even worse when she's trying to justify it. Because it's just, what she's saying is simply not accurate. She may believe it. I'm not calling her a liar. She may believe it. It's inaccurate.
And if she does believe it, and then that's another strike against her in my mind, because she should know the processes. If you're going to serve, you should understand it. Myself, I don't understand it because I've never been in that position. That's why I think it's important for you to explain it, because that's not something I would have known to counter. Because again, that's one of those things that those of us that aren't sitting up there in those halls in Jackson, we don't quite understand everything that happens. We can understand redistricting and every 10 years, but we don't understand the process. We don't understand some of the things that you drew to light, that if she had fought for us, that she could have potentially gotten those lines redrawn. And that's why it's important to have somebody that's been through the processes explain it.
It was either 12 or 16 other senators had the courage to vote no. And the no vote in the House is even larger. So you vote no. Yeah. You don't just say, yes, Delbert, let's destroy Chris, or yes, Delbert, let's destroy Jones County. The obligation as a person who speaks for us is to vote no. And she didn't do that. Incidentally, she also voted for Medicaid expansion. Another show, another day. We'll get to that. But again, it's weird to me, because some of the people making these accusations, that somehow I have a dog in this hunt, that somehow I'm trying to benefit myself and I'm hating her. I know these people, and they know better than that. And I get they're upset because she cast a bad vote. They should be upset with her because she cast a bad vote. But that fault is hers. It's not mine. It's not yours. It's not the people of Jones County. She did that. Now, that's politically inconvenient. But again, own it. Own it. Don't try to rationalize and justify it, because those excuses simply aren't holding water. Yep. They're just not. I'm going to tell you one more thing as I move through this. It doesn't matter what the vote is, right? If you have a principled objection, or your people back home have a principled objection to that vote, your duty, your sworn duty, is to vote no. It's not to cut backroom deals. I'll get to that in a second with the judicial district, because it seems like maybe a backroom deal could have been cut there. It's not to cut backroom deals. It's to do what you were asked to do. That didn't happen here, okay? It just didn't, and that's why it's frustrating. Let me spin it around. Any of you out there, if you had served 16 years serving a district, and somebody intentionally targeted your house to push you out of the district, how would you feel?
Angry. I'd feel victimized. I'd feel like the redistricting process was essentially weaponized against me.
And it was. And it was. Just like the law has been weaponized against Trump. They can't beat me. I could have run. I'd have won that race. I didn't want to run.
Yeah.
I'd have won that race. I didn't want to run. I was happy not running right now. Raising my kids, having a darn good time doing it. But to punish me that way? And her vote for it? No, that doesn't make any sense to me. That's not my fault. You want to be mad at somebody? I'm not the guy. I'm just. And one more thing. I'm fired up now.
I love fired up, Chris.
Listen to me for a second. All of you out there, I'll debate anywhere, anytime, anyhow. And I've been like this my entire life. If I take a position on something, you can rest assured I am factually and legally prepared for it. If I'm saying something dishonest, come on. You can come sit right here, any one of you, and we'll talk about it. It's the same with Don Hartness. I heard somebody call him a liar earlier.
Yeah.
Where's he lied?
I hadn't seen it.
Wait a second. Come on. He's talking about these two votes. Are they not public record?
They are.
Did they not occur?
They did.
How's he lying? Again, you may not like it, but he's telling the absolute truth about this. I did notice something interesting. The first time it come out, the first time Don said something about this, her first excuse was she wasn't there when it happened.
Oh, wow.
It's in the Senate Journal. It's on paper. She was sitting there and cast the vote. And when that happened, she began to try to rationalize it. But Don's not lying.
No.
Don's not lying. So, Jones County's judicial independence, gone. District 42 carved up, gone. Jones County split up not once, but twice by the heart of this senator's district. She claims she had no choice to do it. That's absolutely false. It was the NAACP's fault. No, it wasn't. Nobody forced her to vote no. She could have to vote yes. She could have voted no any time she wanted to.
And she admitted that to me. I got that on the record, her saying, yes, I could have voted no.
What it came down to, she had loyalty, and she gave it to the insiders in the swamp in Jackson as opposed to the people of Jones County. Now, again, it's hard to explain to people. I can take a rational, principled, legal, and factual position without hating somebody. I know in the modern world of politics, I guess we're supposed to hate everybody we disagree with. I do not hate her one bit. I think she's a nice person.
Yeah, I do too.
But these are really bad votes. And you know what? Own it. Don't try to rationalize it. Don't try to make excuses. Just dadgummit, own it. It's the very thing. And again, I thought the whole point was to fight against the swamp. This is the most swamp-like thing I've seen in Jackson in some time, isn't it?
It very much is. I mean, they essentially drew a circle around your house.
Around my house.
Yeah. They didn't care who else they threw into a Democrat district. They didn't care who else they hurt.
To draw the circle around my house, they had to draw out people in Ellisville.
Myself included.
And they didn't care about that.
No. No. I mean, and that's why I do take it personally, because it again, when we allow people to get away with this type of political malpractice, I don't have a better word for it, but that's what I think it is, because you went up there making promises that you were going to have Jones County's best interest at heart at all times. You can't tell me that either of these two votes had Jones County's best interest at heart, because you threw a bunch of us out of the district, and it's frustrating. And where are the county leaders speaking out against it? I noticed they're very quiet too.
They know what she did.
Oh yeah, and are okay with it.
Well, I guess maybe they are. No. The ones I've talked to are not.
Good.
I can assure you they are not okay with it. They're just trying to figure out how to dodge all this artillery right now. One more thing, and again, I don't want to spend the whole show on this. I'm actually frustrated that we're even talking about it still. Again, I don't even like necessarily having a dog in this hunt, but I know good legislation. I know a bad vote.
Yeah.
And what I don't like is people to attack somebody and call them a liar when they're not lying. That really irritates me. Because I've been, when I ran against Delbert for LG, he just called me a liar with impunity. And I told the old man I would debate him anywhere, anytime, anyhow, because I knew I was telling the truth. I knew I was. And he wouldn't debate because he knew I was. Yeah. And it's the same thing happening here. Don is a good man. And I've known him for a long time. He supported me, just to be absolutely honest. Don supported me since day one in everything that I've ever done. He supported me. Okay, I can't say the same for Robin, but I can say that for Don. I can tell you this unequivocally. You call him a liar, that's wrong. That's wrong. But we can prove it if you want to, because I offered to mediate a debate, didn't I?
I saw the post.
If Don's lying, it'll be easy to point it out during that debate, wouldn't it?
I would think so.
Yeah, just point it out for everybody to see. Then if he's really the liar you claim he is, then debate him. You see, I'm a big believer in debates. You know that.
Oh, I am too.
Not just in this race, but all races. I just don't like incumbents dodging. I don't like them dodging. Yeah. And if I was an incumbent and the challenger wanted to debate me, come on. You know why? Because I know what I'm talking about. I'm telling the truth. I'm being legally and factually honest. And the best way to get that to the people is in a debate, right?
Yeah.
Then debate. If Don's a liar, debate him.
I think it's the only logical way to go, but it's never going to happen, and you know that too.
All right. Well, we're getting close to a commercial break.
I think
right?
so.
I think we're getting pretty close. All right, real quick. I'm going to transition off this subject. We may come back to that just in a second, but I tell you what I've got to talk about. I got to talk about this crazy reaction to Sydney Sweeney over the last few days.
Goodness.
I need to talk about Tulsi Gabbard and the fact that she seems to have found what she says is treason against Donald Trump in the White House. And then, given time today, I want to talk about Ron Sandberg just for a few minutes. All of those when we come back. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Chris McDaniel's America. And if there's anything I'm going to do, I'm going to shoot you straight about the swamp every single time. I've been fighting these people my entire political life. I know who they are. I know how they act. I know what kind of deals they cut. I know how nasty it can be. But I want to tell you something. I'm not afraid of them. And I never will be, because I know who they are. And I've always been the guy that shoots you straight, or I tried to shoot you straight. And if that makes me a bad guy, then so be it. Then so be it. I'm okay with that. This news about this actress or entertainer, Sydney Sweeney. I don't know her. I've never seen her work. I have no idea what's going on here. So I had to look it up because I kept seeing everyone talking about this story. I don't know much about her. I'm sure she's a talented actress. I have no idea. You know, it's funny. There's so many TV shows now.
Yeah.
I don't know who's an actress or an actor anymore. I mean, you don't know if you're sitting next to one on the subway. There's so many shows, I can't keep up with it all.
Yeah.
Can you?
No, I mean, only thing I know about, I couldn't tell you one thing but I know she's a very attractive woman. And
well, here's what I know. There's so many actors and actresses now, and so many shows. I guess the age of mega celebrity kind of has ended. Yeah. It used to be, you think about back in the day, you had a Cary Grant, or back in the day even you had a Tom Cruise. And as these generations begin to pass on, of course, the older generations already have, but as Tom Cruise and those guys pass on, I'm trying to figure out who the next big mega stars are, because our attention span is so fast and there's so many shows. It seems we can't focus on one person. We're focused on hundreds, if not thousands. And so I'm sure she's a good actress, or whatever the case may be. What fascinated me was the context of what she said and why the American left was so offended by what she said. I mean, she was doing a jeans commercial for American Eagle, is my understanding. Mm-hmm. And there was something about great jeans being somehow juxtaposed with the term jeans, G-E-N-E-S, as opposed to J-E-A-N-S. Pretty clever stuff, I suppose. I mean, jeans, whatever. It doesn't seem to me inherently offensive. So apparently she was standing there, or I don't know how the commercial went down. I didn't see it. But this was read, or she read this while the commercial was watching her genes, or whatever the case it was. She says, genes are passed down from parents to offspring. That's science. Often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. That's science. My genes are blue. Okay, clever play on genes versus genes. Hers are blue, and it showed her eyes, whatever. It seems like a reasonable American TV ad trying to sell somebody a pair of jeans.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like. And the American left went absolutely berserk. And it just goes to show how far I'm going to get myself in such big trouble with this show today, because it does show how far they've gone off the cliff, right?
Yeah.
This thing airs 40 years ago. Nobody says anything about it. Oh, shucks. Yeah. What a cute play on words. Blah, 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 blah. It airs now, and it's a national conversation. And you know what it is? It's the purple-haired ladies leading the charge, isn't it?
Of course it is.
You know who I'm talking about. Nothing wrong with purple hair. If that's your thing, as my, I don't know, you do your thing. Mm-hmm. Purple hair. And I'm not suggesting that jealousy somehow could play a role in this. I would never. I'm not suggesting that liberal women are somehow disproportionately, not all, most below average.
And angry.
Is that it's probably the anger that makes it so.
Probably.
No man likes getting yelled at.
Oh, no.
I don't get the outrage. Here's what they said. They said it promoted eugenics, white supremacy, and Nazism.
What?
Yeah. Now, this girl didn't say a word about Nazism or eugenics or anything else. And it was a clever play on words. What I thought was interesting is how the national conversation always goes down this path because of the purple hair gals, right? Yeah. And the next thing you know, we're all having to talk about this for the next 2 weeks. Yet, if Michael Jordan does that same ad, nobody says a word.
Nope. It would be easy for him to do it.
Nobody says a word.
Yep.
He does the exact same ad. What are the double standards in this? I mean, I don't think there's even a racial component here. But if you've got to go look for one, you really need a job. You know, you cannot spend your day browsing through Twitter just trying to find a way to be mad at people. And if you think this was about Nazism, better yet, American Eagle, this is a designer brand, as I understand it, that markets itself to all sorts of people. Trust me, the last thing on their mind was trying to connote or imply some sort of racism here. Are you kidding me? It was a cute play on words. That's all it was. And so the American left goes absolutely berserk. Now, here's what's interesting about that from a cultural perspective. Just pure cultural here. Ben Shapiro said it. I laughed about it. He goes, some countries have true serious problems. And then there are countries that have national discussions over a white woman in jeans.
It's so crazy.
I mean, he's so right about that because this country, maybe here's the problem. Maybe we're so spoiled in a good way. Capitalism has brought us riches unlike anything in the history of the world, right? It has. Liberals hate that too, by the way. They hate capitalism. Yeah. Although it's the reason they can have these $1,200 phones and complain about Sweeney to the internet. But capitalism, allowed them to have these things. But consider this. We have this great economic system, right? We have a fairly stable continent. Put simply, we're not facing military threats because we have oceans between us and the rest of the world. So we sit here without any real threats. Think about it. We're pretty protected. Leave it to the American left. They will find a threat. If it's, you see what I'm getting at?
Yes, I do.
If Trump's not trying to destroy the Constitution, then this girl is promoting Nazism.
Oh,
and look,
course.
if they think that's the path to election success, keep it up. You're making our day here. Every time one of the purple hairs yells about something like this, Trump's picking up votes. Make no mistake about it, because average Americans don't watch TV ads just looking to get offended. Now, granted, we sometimes get offended by certain things, but it's not a play on words like that, is it?
No, not, or at least it shouldn't be.
What offends you?
It takes a lot to offend me, but some of the what offends me are people that refuse to listen when logic and reason is thrown in their face, and you explain to them the logical point of view, but then they go right back to the emotional point of view. So yeah, basically liberalism offends me.
Well, we have, I don't know. Again, maybe that's the symptom, not the symptom, the natural result of all of our years of just being protected and cuddled and spoiled, and everybody gets a trophy, and everything's going to be okay. And if you can't, pay for your meal, somebody will pay for them for you. And if you can't pay for your phone, we'll get you a free one. And then we have to find a problem with a Gene commercial. It just goes to show maybe there's something wrong with the culture. Speaking of culture, Tulsi Gabbard. I don't know what's going on here, but have you heard all of this talk about treason?
Yeah, it's very fascinating for sure. Because again, I don't know what all is going on, but if it is leading the path that we're being teased it could be unprecedented.
All right, well, here's what we're going to do. We are going to talk about Tulsi Gabbard just for a moment as a refresher course on who she is. Mm-hmm. Okay. Former Democrat.
Yep.
Hawaii. Mm-hmm. Ran for president as a Democrat in 2020. Fox News contributor. How nice must that be to just be a Democrat your whole life and then all of a sudden become a famous millionaire Fox contributor? Yeah. What's going on there? Tell me. Whatever. One more thing. Appointed Director of National Intelligence. Again, what an incredible segue from being she was, let me frustrate you all for a moment. She was a Democrat when Barack Obama was president. Mm-hmm. Both terms. Which means tacitly and implicitly, apparently expressly, she agreed with the things he was doing.
Yep.
Or she would have or she would have changed her party back
years
then.
ago. Yeah.
I think it's interesting that she chose to do it now as a matter of opportunism as opposed to being principled, but that's a show for another day because she may be onto something here. I don't know. And if she has found something here that demonstrates what she claims, we should support that, shouldn't we?
Absolutely.
Because if these people conspired against Trump And they used that Russian information in a bad way, knowing, she claims she's got the documentation showing that they knew the Russians weren't involved in the 2016 race. And yet they still pushed that theory. That's a problem.
Big problem.
Now, granted, it doesn't technically fit the legal definition of treason, because if you look at the code section there, 18 U.S.C. 2381, you got to levy war against the U.S. or you can aid and comfort its enemies. And that's kind of a broad term, but the way it's always been construed is more narrowly than we like to apply it here. So we may not have a charge of treason, but it is a charge of high corruption. And you say, what does this have to do with today's show? This is the way the swamp works.
Yeah.
Think about it. The swamp at the time, they controlled the power. They knew darn well there was no Russian collusion. In other words, that Russians weren't trying to influence the race. Yet they spread information out there like it was, knowing the whole while it wasn't. They were using inside information. They were lying to you. Imagine that, the government lying to you. I've never heard of that before.
No, we should trust the
They
government.
were lying to you about what was occurring. And she's caught them. It looks like dead to rights. What makes me think maybe there's a lot of truth here is that the national press has gone berserk trying to prove that she's wrong. And whenever I see NBC and MSNBC and CNN use all that type of energy to prove that she's wrong, I think immediately she's probably correct. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's always fair. That's a rational conclusion. But I know the press has been so hostile to us for so long, we've got to the point we don't trust any of them anymore.
No, we don't. I mean, and that's sad because, I mean, the media is supposed to be the one reporting these type of findings and not trying to produce spin or attack someone merely because they might have found evidence against one of your chosen heroes.
So there are three people here, Brennan, Clapper, Comey. They buried internal reports is what happened. The internal reports apparently showed that Russia had no intent at all to alter the vote tallies. Mm-hmm. So they had documentation demonstrating Russia had no involvement. And apparently they just, they folded that up and put it in their coat pocket, and maybe no one will ever see these documents, right? Yeah. It turns out those documents still exist, and there's emails and other things. So it just goes to show how nasty these people are. And this is what we're fighting. Whether it's redistricting, whether it's taking congressmen off committees, whether it's punishing them by killing their bills, that's the deep state. That's the type of corruption we're fighting. Wouldn't y'all agree? Or is it okay when somebody local does it?
It's a good question.
Let me know when you consider that. So anyway, a couple of more things here. I do think that if there's evidence there, it needs to be pursued.
Yes.
But here's the bigger question we all have to ask ourselves. And this is the one that kind of keeps me up at night. So, Jack, focus. What if? Let's play what if.
Okay.
What if is the game of people who worry? The anxiety prone. We all have it. We all ask, what if?
Absolutely.
What if that spot is cancerous? What if that stomach ache I feel is something worse, right? Because if you go to WebMD and you search for it, you're gonna die.
Oh, you're gonna find something
within 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was this close to the end.
It will back up your worst fears.
WebMD told me everything I did not want to know about this one symptom. My throat's sore. Oh, clearly I'm dying. You've done it. We've all done it.
Oh, absolutely, I've done it.
So what if thinking? We have to think about it in those terms. What if no arrests are made? What if no arrests are made? What if the swamp isn't drained? What if Maxwell gets pardoned? Ooh. What if Diddy gets pardoned? I heard they're talking about pardoning Diddy. I mean, just for the sake of all that abuse with the baby oil. All that was just remarkably disturbing. All of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole story.
Oh, yeah.
Is so damning and disturbing. So I'm asking what else because I'm nervous about some of this stuff. You hear these rumblings all the time, right?
Yeah.
What would you do? I mean, as a person who wants to see it all drained, and what if we don't get it drained? How does that make you feel in 3 years? What do we do then?
Sadly, I don't expect it to be drained. I don't expect there to be any arrest because my expectations are extremely low based on years of experience. We get told this or we get told that, and then nothing comes of it. And sometimes I feel like they throw these breadcrumbs out, these, pieces of information just to make us say, see, they're fighting, but then nothing ever comes from it. Take Hillary Clinton in the email server. She was going to get arrested, lock her up. That was the chant. Nothing ever came. I mean, it's just, I think this is more of the same of that.
Well, if we're asking what if questions, and that's the thing that bothers me, because I want to see this country turned around. When I talk about Make America Great Again, I'm dead serious about it. It's not a slogan with me.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And I believe culturally we're at a tipping point that if we don't turn these things around like right now, it may never turn around.
Yeah.
I'm worried about my sons, right? I'm worried about other people's sons and daughters out there. I'm worried about the youth because this is our moment to turn things around. And as conservatives, we have to ask some tough questions because these what ifs keep me up at night. Because if we go through this next 3 years and we don't do it and things are just left the way they are, I mean, are we going to fall for the next guy that comes around and says, you tell me. You tell me.
Will we fall for the next guy that comes around and makes similar promises if the promises made during the Trump campaign aren't met? Probably. I mean, because people are sadly looking for saviors instead of trying to hold people accountable. And because you see so many of them looking for a savior, there's a reason why they are more forgiving because they don't want to. And again, I'm not saying Trump's not doing it good because he is, but there are some out there, whether it was, Barack Obama for the liberals or whoever else, they will come up with rationalizations when things don't go the way they were promised instead of admitting that maybe their savior wasn't the savior they thought they were. And that's part of the sad thing. Again, that goes back to get emotion out of it and go back to logic and reason. One of the things that drives logic are the things you can see. And if things aren't progressing in the manner in which you think they should be or in which you were promised they would be, then you've got to hold people accountable. And sadly, too many people just don't do that nowadays.
Yeah. Well, I hope it all turns out right because we want to see things change. And if it doesn't, it's going to be a gut blow. It's going to be really hard.
Yeah.
It's going to be really, really hard for us to kind of restabilize ourselves and keep fighting. But we still have 3 years. That's a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long time. It just got started again, right? It's been 6 months or so. We got plenty of time to set this thing right.
Yep.
But I do want to see results. And so far, so good. But I want to see Congress acting too.
Yeah.
And President Trump's issued a whole bunch of executive orders, but Congress is still. They've given us the big beautiful bill, but I want to see some more big beautiful things.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not terribly patient when it comes to Congress. I mean, should we be patient when it comes to Congress?
Absolutely not. Especially, when you've got 2-year terms for your congressmen, 6-year for senators. But I mean, you should be demanding them to keep their promises and not just showing up every election year and they pass 1 or 2 things that they promised you. When they promised you 50 things, they passed 2 in an election year.
All right, well, let's begin the wrap-up here. And I wanted to talk about Ron Sandberg just for a second, but I do want to allude back just for a moment because people are asking these questions. I'm getting text. Mm-hmm. Again, I got some ladies out there saying that we're being dishonest about Robin.
We're not.
No. Let's fix it.
Yeah.
Anytime she wants to come sit right here and talk about those votes, she's ready. I'm prepared.
I am too.
I mean, I've got nothing to hide to you.
No.
It's funny. They always do that. They're trying to make her the victim. How does she get to vote all those bad votes and still be the victim?
She shouldn't.
So, look, I've got nothing to hide. Any of you ladies that are taking up for her, I get it. She's your friend. She may even be family, and I think it's honorable that you would take up for your friend. But not by calling us liars, because now that makes you a liar. And I don't even want no one to fix that, and that's let's have a debate. Yeah. It's not too late. Look, I'm offered myself tomorrow, Monday, even Tuesday morning. Robin, Don Hartness, any of you that are taking up for Robin, any of you that are taking up for Don, let's do it. I'll turn on the Facebook Live. We'll get the radio over here, the newspaper over here. Heck, we may even get a TV station over here.
Yeah. Let's
have the debate. It won't take 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And we'll get to the bottom of it. Is that a bad way to operate? Truth and transparency?
No.
Are we supposed to just take her word for it and say, okay?
No, you don't take their word for it, ever.
All right. Here's once again, I'm issuing once again the challenge to anybody who wants it. Tomorrow is Sunday. We can do it anytime. I'll make myself available. Monday, anytime. I'll make myself available. Or Tuesday, day of the election. If we're lying, it'll be easy to point out, right?
Just show up.
Just show up. Dare you. I dare you. Prove us wrong. Anyway, how much time do we have here?
You got about 7 minutes, I think.
7 minutes. Let's talk about one more thing real quick. Then there'll be enough fighting on Facebook later. Interestingly enough, a lot of you people probably could have cared less about the Chicago Cubs or Ryan Sandberg, and I get that because there's a lot of teams out there and a lot of players that are really good, and we all value, for whatever reason, different players and different teams. And so I know that I had several questions about, you felt a visceral loss when we lost Ryan Sandberg, and I did as well. I know you've written quite a bit about it. I've written quite a bit about it. So I want to try to explain that. People say, well, what's the big deal? And they make a valid point. In some respects, I mean, he's just a guy, just a man. He was a great baseball player, but that's not the big deal. I mean, there are players with better numbers that exist. So that's not why it hurt. It's hard to explain. When you're growing up in the South, and this was pre-cable, I mean, y'all remember we had 3 channels. If we were lucky, we had 3 channels. And that's if you got the rabbit ears or the antenna outside just right on a cloudy day. Mm-hmm. I mean, you think about, remember the days going outside and you're screaming, go to the right.
Yep, I remember turning that
Turn
pole.
it to the left. We actually had a device, had a motor on it, where we turned it, and it made this really loud grating noise. You could hear the electricity about to blow the house up. I'm surprised it wasn't a fire hazard, but you turned it, it would go no, 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 no. And all of a sudden.
We never had that, but I had friends that did.
But all of a poor people from Vicksburg. All of a sudden, you saw the graininess started taking on a picture. It's like, stop, quit turning it. And then it tried it again here and went there, and finally that 3rd channel will pop on. And then, lo and behold, it was like PBS, which is something I didn't want to watch. Never mind. You probably like PBS, Jack. You're probably a PBS watcher. I can see you watching Sesame Street, trying to rationalize living in a basement in the Bronx doing a TV show. Anyway, the point is that finally my dad purchased a satellite dish. And I'm here to tell you, if you don't understand what going from 2 channels to 100 channels does, it's amazing. I saw HBO for the first time. Mm-hmm. Not bragging about that. My pastor called it Hell's box office. But I saw it for the first time. But I also saw WGN TV for the first time. Mm-hmm. WGN was really neat because it was out of Chicago, and that was basically a whole other part of the world. We had channels, but we didn't have Chicago channels. Now, here's the cool part about WGN. It wasn't just the shows about clowns and all that stuff and all the cool things about Chicago. The Cubs played daytime baseball in the summer, and the game started at Wrigley at 1:20 on the afternoon. 1:20. Been like that forever. What a cool tradition, 1:20. And so as a boy, being at home in the summertime, I was watching the Cubs play baseball. And I had to choose. It was either the Braves, WTBS, Superstation, or the Cubs. And a bunch of loser friends of mine chose WTBS. So I was compelled to watch the Cubs. And I saw this second baseman there. His name was Ryan Sandberg. Mm-hmm. And he was breaking into the league with a big splash about the time that we got the satellite TV. So my days were spent at Wrigley Field. My dreams were spent at Wrigley Field. It was impossibly green grass with the most beautiful ivy you've ever seen and the most traditional scoreboard imaginable.
Day games only.
Day games only. And all of a sudden, as a little boy, I'm watching this second baseman named Ryan Sandberg, and there was something really special about him. It wasn't that he was just great. I mean, he almost played errorless baseball.
Yep.
How can you play second base and not commit an error? I mean, at some point, it's just magical how many ground balls and double plays he turned without an error. And he did. But here's what I noticed about him. Quiet humility. He would hit a home run. He didn't flip it. He didn't stare at the pitcher. He almost ran around the bases like he felt bad about hurting the pitcher's feelings.
Yeah.
There was a kindness. And you're growing up trying to emulate someone. And my dad was a lot like that. He was a very a very kind person in many, many ways. And I guess I was looking for somebody a lot like my dad from the baseball perspective. And I saw this guy. And he just kept doing it. Almost flawless baseball, but more importantly, it appeared to me, by all accounts, almost flawless character. Now, I didn't know him personally, so I can't say he had flawless character, and I can tell you right away he did not. But when you see a man play the game, and he plays it the right way, professionalism and kindness, he's humble, he's not loud, something happened. I found my childhood hero.
Yeah.
You know, I had the Boston Celtics over here as heroes, and I had Ryan Sandberg as a hero, and for different reasons. But you tell me, when you first saw Rhino and you watched him play, what was it about him that made you love him?
You know, it was just the fact that he came across. You watched him play, and there was something about the way he did it that made you think, oh, maybe I could do this. I mean, he was an everyman. You know, I mean, when you watched him on the field, he was that guy that made the flashy play not look as flashy. You know, I mean, but it was still remarkable when you realize what he was doing. There was just an eloquence about it. And the fact that he was, every time you saw him in interviews, he was just a humble guy. You know, I think a testament to who he was, you can look at his former teammates now and how devastated they are at the loss, you know, and I guarantee you, these people, you know, hadn't played in 20, 30 years since they hung up their cleats and probably hadn't been around Sandberg that often, but it still, you know, invoked tearful emotions, and that tells you who he is.
It was a combination of several factors. The first is we were all exposed to him at young ages. Mm-hmm. The second is we saw a really kind gentleman play the game that we loved. And lastly, we felt like we lost him too early.
Yeah.
And it reemphasizes the uniqueness of life and how fragile it all really is. But I'm going to tell you something. If Ryan Sandberg can't beat prostate cancer, I sure can't.
Yeah.
And so you think about him being 65 years old, which is by today's standards incredibly young.
Very young.
Incredibly athletic person, and he had this misfortune of getting cancer. And the thing that touched me a lot about it is that when he first treated it, he beat it, or so we thought. And there was an interview with him after he beat it. And to show you how it touched him, and now he had faced his own mortality, when he was announcing the news that that it was not there at the moment, he thought he had beaten it, and he cried. And it was that same humility, you know. He felt. He just felt. But he was grateful. He was grateful he had beaten it. And then, lo and behold, just a few weeks after that interview, it returned. And he fought it again, and he couldn't beat it. And it just reminds us all that if Ryan Sandberg, who committed almost no errors, that even some problems of life are even beyond his fixing. And if he can't fix it, we can't either. And so there's a way of facing our own mortality and trying to figure out where we fit in this overall picture, and then losing at the same time what we consider to be a boyhood hero. It begs the question in many ways, are there heroes? Or do they even exist in this world? Are they all just figments of our imagination? And if they are, do they all have to end just like we'll have to end? Again, returning to dust.
Yeah.
But hey, like I told you in that article, he left a standard. So, weird that we have these strong emotional attachments to people we don't even know.
Never met.
But here we are. Ryan Sandberg. Rest in peace, Rhino. Crazy. What a great, fun baseball player. And what a good team the 84 Cubs was.
That was the team made me fall in love with them in baseball. And I just want to point out, your hat is a tribute to Ryan Sandberg. His nickname was Rhino, hence the rhino on your hat.
I'm glad you said that because I've worn this many times. I don't think anybody knows what on earth. I wish it was the rhino kind of politicians we've taken. 23. But it's not. We're probably 0-23.
Probably.
But that is basically a nod to him. That's Rhino.
Yep.
And that was his nickname.
And, of course, we hung his jersey over your shoulder for today's show, too.
Yeah. I mean, look, man. I've had this conversation with my sons, and I don't want them idolizing men. But it's okay to at least appreciate them.
Yeah.
We don't idolize men. Men are imperfect. Men are flawed, but we can appreciate the marks they leave us. And I hope they can find someone they can think of in the same fashion, the same light. Anyway, heck of a show. I think now I'll rush quickly to Facebook and throw some really nasty Facebook post up there. I'm kidding. I'm just gonna talk about the truth. Is that okay?
Yeah, look, I may have a column that you can share later.
I'll do it. Guys, thanks for being here. This has been Chris McDaniel's America. This is the Midnight Ride Network, and it's your home of the anti-establishment movement in this country. Thank you for being a part of it. We'll see you next time.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0.
Wow, it's so soft and smooth.
It's cool to the touch. How did you do that?
Well, we took My Pillow's patented fill and combined it with this new technology that we didn't have back then when I invented My Pillow to bring you the best pillow in history, My Pillow 2.0. Just like all of you, I never imagined that My Pillow could get any better. That's why I haven't changed it in nearly 20 years. Then I heard about a revolutionary new technology, and I knew I had to bring it to you all. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
The My Pillow 2.0 is cooler and softer than the last My Pillow. It is so comfortable to sleep on at night. I look forward to going to bed, and I wake up well rested in the morning.
Sleep is all about temperature and height. My Pillow 2.0's patented adjustable fill is going to give you the exact individual support you need from your head to your bed. And now here's where it gets even better. We've all experienced those temperature-related sleep interruptions where you get too hot, you toss and turn, you flip your pillow over to the cool side. Well, all that's gone with my brand new My Pillow 2.0 cooling fabric that's made with temperature-regulating thread.
The best sleep just got even better. Whether you have a MyPillow or not, you need to get the brand new MyPillow 2.0. Call or go to MyPillow.com now. Use your promo code, and for a limited time when you buy one, you'll get a second one absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
Visit MyPillow.com.